Welcome to Live Edge, episode number next. I'm Matt.
I'm Amy.
This is 731 Woodworks Live Edge. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Maddie. I see you in there, and Kendall, if she's with you.
How y'all doing? Be sure and drop those states. We got to know where you're from. Country, state, wherever you're from there. We want to know.
Kenosha.
The Kenosha Kickers, right? Right? The Kenosha Kickers?
I don't think it's the Kickers, is it?
Is it Kenosha something? It was on Home Alone 2. It was the folk band. What do they call? The Polka. Come on now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The Kenosha Kicker.
He loves Home Alone and Home Alone 2. Oh, my goodness.
All right. So Sawdust Spotlight, we'll let that get shouted out, although I don't know.
Let's give it a minute in case they're...
We'll give it a minute. Give it a minute.
So
tonight,
see if they pop in.
We'll bring him on in just a minute, but just so you know, we got Andy Bird from Andy Bird Builds on. He's got a YouTube channel. I think almost certain I put a link in the description of this video so you can go check that out. Go check out his channel. Also, I wanted to mention one thing. Hang on. I got you.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to bring up a website.
Oh, Lord. So
we've got some, I'm going to share my screen with you. We've got some 731 tumblers they're really cool. There's only going to be 50 of this color made. On the cup itself, as you can see, it says Live Edge. There's also Pocket Hole King on there. There's, I think, 2x4s on there. It's got our logo. These are black stainless dual wall tumblers. Clamps. What's awesome about those is the company that makes those cups also supports the Wounded Warrior Project. So if you buy a cup, one of those, a portion of those sales gets donated to the Wounded Warrior Project. So it's just a good way to support us as well as Wounded Warrior. If you're interested, there's a link in the description below if you want to pre-order. Once the pre-orders are filled at 50, they'll stop and then they will process the order. And so depending on how long it takes to get us to 50 pre-orders is how long it takes for you to get your cup. We do really appreciate you supporting us.
Lloyd Wagner's in the house.
Lloyd Wagner.
So someone, who was it? Let me go back up. Eric Davis asked how I was doing, said he was praying for me. Thank you. I'm doing good. I've got two more weeks, 3 more weeks before I go back and see if the injection helped. So
we hope.
I would do a thumbs up, but it kind of looks weird. Look, there's my thumbs. So we're hoping. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's do our
Sawdust
Spotlight.
All right, this week's Sawdust Spotlight. Here we go.
Hey, Brother Riv.
Ronnie Wagner. He finished his nightstand for his daughter, and she was excited. Man,
and so, of course, what do you think Mo chose this week?
Mo chose this nice-looking end table.
Yep.
Look at that. Look how excited she is.
Jason's mom's in the house, too.
Look at that.
Oh, but only for a little while.
Look at that happiness.
Pretty.
That is awesome. Good job, Lloyd.
So is that his daughter?
Mm-hmm.
She's beautiful.
Good job, man. That was
good job, Lloyd. When I saw that, I was like, oh, goodness. Welcome to
Jason,
the
Mom.
virtual fist bump crew, Brandon Adams.
Ooh, we got to get him one of them.
Okay, I'm getting behind on my states. So I'm going to get caught up on that.
All right. So I'm going to bring on Mr. Andy from Andy Bird Builds. If I can figure out how to actually do it this time.
Stephanie says we're going to have a virtual toast once they all get their tumblers.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Thank you, Brother Rib. I'm trying to get better.
Hey, Mr. Andy, how's it going?
Hey, doing well. How are you?
That sounded
making
terrible.
Really loud noises here.
I think you struggle on something. I
struggle on a lot of stuff, actually. I'm struggling right now.
You are struggling.
This equipment falling everywhere.
Hey, Miss Ann.
So, Andy, tell us a little bit about yourself. Married, kids, woodworker. What do you do?
Yeah, a little bit about myself. So, like I said, I'm in the Kentucky area, just south of Louisville, Kentucky. I'm originally from Michigan. I'm married. I have been going through a major transition. We just had our first baby.
Awesome.
Boy or girl?
So I'm a boy. He's 3 months old.
Aww.
Do you call him Little Bird?
Yeah, right. We call it filling the bird's nest, right?
That's awesome.
There's
Bro,
there was so many there's so many jokes there.
yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so life has been flipped upside down in a very good way.
Yeah.
Um, and so my wife Erin is a high school math teacher, and so I always I always say that she's the brains of this operation. Um,
I know how you feel.
and yeah, yeah. So
That doesn't mean that you have a bird brain, though. I'm sorry. I just had to.
oh man, they just keep
I
coming.
grew up in the Spuds McKenzie era, and my maiden
That's
name
probably
is
before your time.
Mackenzie. So
that was like the Budweiser dog.
oh my gosh,
commercials
it
back in
was
the day.
Spuds McKenzie. Yeah, I was Spuds growing up all the time.
Yeah. In high
I
school,
think if
I
someone
was
said
just
Spuds now, I'd answer.
in high school, I was known as Bird. Like no one even used my first name. Yeah.
We went to school with a bird, but his first name was Richard.
I think so.
I don't remember what if.
So how'd you get into woodworking?
Well, I've always built stuff. I mean, I can remember back, my grandfather he built houses, and I would build things out of straps, and that's like one of my earliest memories, just a hammer and nails, and then fast forward to 2014 when we bought our first house. My wife and I bought our first house. We did a lot of renovations. It was a foreclosure, and this was before YouTube, before woodworking, before anything. So that's kind of where my confidence grew, and where I started accumulating tools because I had a good excuse to buy them, which is always a good thing.
Hey,
yes.
I'm going to give you my mic.
Will it reach?
Because they're having a hard time.
I get you. How about that? Got that announcer voice now.
There you go.
Okay.
So
yeah,
you got into woodworking, and is this your full-time job now?
It is my full-time job now since June 12th, 2020. So over a year now.
Awesome. And so how did that happen? How did it go from I kind of like doing this until okay, now I'm able to do this full time?
Well, a lot of things happen, right? Life happens. Backing up a little bit, I officially got my first woodworking table saw in 2018, and I would say that's the beginning of the formal woodworking. Like I'm getting into woodworking.
All right.
I made cutting boards and stuff like that. And then soon after that, I bought my first CNC. And so that's 3 years ago now. And how it became full time was it was a side hustle at first. I was working my once dream job. I'm working my dream job now. So my once dream job while I was, building up skills, building up tools, figuring out what I wanted to do. So that's one thing led to another. So
awesome. H2 Woodshop wants to know, what's your main source of woodworking income now?
My main source is still my CNC business. That's what enabled me to go full time in the first place. And go ahead.
On your channel, you go through a lot of this stuff on your channel, and you've got a bunch of amazing videos that document a lot of this stuff. And that's one of the main reasons I've been watching your stuff. And I was like, this he's sharing some awesome information, because there's a lot of people that want to get into CNC, but they don't really know what to make. Like I've struggled through this too. Carbide gave me a CNC to use, but I'm like, what do I make with this thing? What can I do with it? And it can do so much. It's almost, you get paralyzed because it's got so much you can do with it, but you don't know how to start, that kind of thing. But you took an interesting approach to making money with it. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So I would say I've always had a business mind. I owned another business right out of college. It was like a land and landscape business, but we were really successful in Michigan. And so no matter what I'm doing, I'm always thinking, how can I make money with this? that's in my blood, in my nature. And so when I started with the CNC in the same exact place as the people that you're describing, like, what do I make with this thing? I started just beating my head up against the wall, and like everybody is making things, like custom things,
Right.
and that takes so much time. And what I found is people weren't willing. My customers, they are out there, but the customers I was finding wasn't willing to pay. It wasn't worth my time. So I started thinking and looking. I'm a thinker. I'm constantly grinding my gears and thinking and observing. And so I took the wholesale approach, meaning that it takes a lot of time to establish a brand and a presence. And there's people that already do that. And so, or that already have a brand. And I was like, well, if I can make products for them and sell them at a reduced rate, and then they'll turn around and sell them, I wonder how much money I can make there. So I started jumping into that full force, and I would look up Etsy shops that obviously weren't making their own items and being like, hey, I can make that for you. And I probably contacted 100 Etsy shops, like just wrote them on Etsy.
That's awesome.
And it was successful. So that's kind of how I started and the approach I took.
Awesome. CDN Woodworker wants to know, what do you consider to be a good beginner CNC?
Ooh. So there is no better value, and this is my honest opinion. It's not because I own them, but there isn't a better value than Carbide 3D Shapeoko. The price of entry is good, but the things that they pack into that for that price is really, really good. So that's where I would start. I really wouldn't start below that quality because just capability. But at the end of the day, it's what do you have to ask yourself? What do you want to do with it also?
Right.
So,
it's you that's being too quiet. You need
I'm
to be
too quiet.
Yeah.
My bad. We'll
That's
crank
why-
up the game. It's probably because I'm leaning.
Yeah, that's why you think I keep like chasing
You
you.
like-
with it. I'm like,
She's like, talk into that.
stuff is not your strong suit.
Andy, Chris wants to know, would you recommend for a new woodworker with less than a year experience to get a CNC or try to master the trade with other tools first?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
It's hard.
It's probably a personal preference, but what I would do, I would recommend spend some time learning the basics of woodworking first, and building out a shop with your basic tools, table saw, things along those lines. And but if you've already done that and you're comfortable with it, then there's no reason why you can't jump into a CNC.
So I'm thinking even with what little bit I've used my CNC, like I'm still, even when I cut stuff with the CNC, I'm still using my table saw and routers and things like that I've already got to finish them with. So I think you need that.
Exactly. Yep.
Super. Thank you, Brandon. He wants to know, he says, I just want to say I love your guy. I want to say your love of God through carpentry is amazing. Watching your videos has made me rekindle that relationship and become closer to him. Your seeds are planting and sprouting through his work.
He was saying that to you.
I know. He was saying that to me. I'm sorry. Somebody wanted to know, I'm sorry, Charles, I think. Yep. How did you come up with your pricing point that would sustain a full-time business?
Thank you, Brandon.
Pricing is a hot topic.
Yeah, it's hard because it's so subjective to your market and who you're selling to, and it's your pricing for what you value your work. And so it's hard. It's one of those questions that it's really unique to every builder or every maker. Some people price. We had a guest on who prices cutting boards at $250 each, and he's making them as fast as he can make them and sell them. And then you got others who can't make them, sell them for $65 each. So it just depends on your market and things like that. It's really, really difficult. But do you have a formula that you use to calculate, or or is it just where you work out a deal with the supply or the people you're supplying, or how's that work?
So a good starting point for wholesale work is 60% of what you would sell that item for retail.
Mm-hmm.
So wholesale is usually 60% of retail. Now, I know that doesn't help you determine what retail is,
Right.
but a couple things I would say is there's a lot of different formulas out there. I would pick one that you like and stick with it. There's, the basic one I think to start with is your materials. Come up with an hourly shop rate or an hourly rate, what you want to get paid. So materials plus your shop rate. And then I would times that number by 1.5 to kind of capture all of the miscellaneous expenses.
Right. Broken things like that.
Yeah. So that is a good starting point.
Yeah.
But there's so many different formulas. And at the end of the day, you said it, Matt, it's what the market will bear.
All right. Faith Hart wants to know what's your favorite build?
Ooh.
Or I guess what's your favorite thing you've built? You have a favorite?
I would say, so I built an arrow. I did a CNC arrow for my newborn son. It's hanging up in his nursery. And it's a very personal video.
Yeah.
I actually wrote a script and read it over top of the CNC video.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a gift to him. So
awesome.
I think that's been really my favorite.
Cool. That is cool.
Yeah.
Stephanie Simmons wants to know, how do you stay motivated when things aren't going well?
You have to have. That's a great question. I love these questions too, because these mean something, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is everything. This is something that we face. Everybody faces. And first and foremost, I would say my wife keeps me motivated in a good way. In a good way.
Yes, you do.
She puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
But as far as myself, I think everybody has to have a why. Why are you doing what you're doing? And it has to be bigger than I want to make money. Like that's a good reason. Don't get me wrong. But there has to be something bigger than that. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that is impacting people and giving people hope and showing people that they are capable of more than they think they are.
Yep.
So those are things that keep me going.
That's awesome. 2M Mills wants to know when you were getting started, did you compile a mess of mistake projects? Did you learn to use your CNC machine and software? Where and how did you learn to use the equipment?
You need the answer to this one.
Man, that CNC's tough, man. I was talking before the show, and I still can't figure it out why. I had a file work, cut two perfectly good mallets out, and the next one, same file. Everything was the same. It just didn't do it. It just decided to go right through the middle of it.
Welcome to 1-6, James.
Hey, man, thank you.
I'm not gonna say his name right. Marley.
So, did you have a lot of mistakes, and then where did you learn to use the equipment?
So I had a lot of mistakes, yes, and I'll be the first to admit, like I still have mistakes to this day, less mistakes, but I had mistakes. I had piles of things. So where I learned I learned on YouTube. I am self-taught beyond YouTube. I didn't take any classes or have any prior experience. And so, YouTube taught me how to use a CNC, which is crazy to say out loud.
I think a lot of people think that it's a plug and play thing. Like I almost had that impression too. Like I get the CNC, once I get it set up, all I got to do is tell it to cut and it'll cut. It's more complicated than that. You got to, like, everything has to be told exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And if you don't, it ain't going to do it.
Yeah. And that's interesting So that plug and play, I try to warn people, pump the brakes a little bit. It's a big learning curve.
Yeah.
It is worth it. Don't get me wrong, but it is a challenge also.
It is. But that's like anything else, man. You just got to put your time in and learn and be willing to learn, and be willing to fail at it until you can get it right. It's like anything else, I think. Michael wants to know how your hand is doing after the saw accident.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael. So I had did you know this one? Did you know about this?
If I did, I forgot it. Did you do a video on it?
I did.
I missed that one.
It was, so I remember dates. I think it was February 15th. I was using a job site table saw and wasn't paying attention. And I was cutting trim for a closet, like just face trim on these plywood shelves that I did. So I was making these really long cuts over and over and over again. Complacency.
Yep.
So complacency and a table saw will hurt you.
So is it healing up good?
Yeah, it's healing up really good. Since then, I bought a saw stop table saw.
Awesome.
My biggest advice is buy the saw stop before you have an accident.
Yeah,
it's a lot more cost effective.
I'm working on a video now. I was given a saw stop by a good friend of mine who he was concerned about my hands, and he's just an extremely generous person. And so that's part of the video is like, it's just, you got to weigh the options there. And I know it's outside a lot of people's budget, but man, if you have a major accident like that.
Yeah,
which one? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Take your hands off the keyboard. I'm
Jason,
gonna do both computers.
I got you.
Talk.
I got you. Jason Priester says, I watched your cheese board video, saw a Cobalt router table in the back. Do you recommend that table? Also, sanding disc on the drill press is genius. Yes, it is, because I bought some of those.
Yes, I love the sanding stars. I would not recommend my router table. That is actually at the top of my list to upgrade.
I'm fixing to build one. I just got a Craig Pro lift that Mark Puente from Working the Grain Hardwoods gifted me, and with a Bosch router to go in it. So I'm going to build a router table. I just haven't decided if I'm building the whole top or if I want to buy the top, or I'm still up in the air about that.
Stop touching keyboard. I had it on the Mac.
I was going to put it on the screen. Jeff Alred says, neighbor asked me to make a working bow, as in bow and arrow. Can the CNC make that? I have no clue where to start, type of wood, etc.
I've never built a bow and arrow. Have you, Matt?
I haven't. I wouldn't even know where to start. It would have to be wood.
I think the CNC can do it. Well, actually, I know the CNC can do it. I just don't know if that's the best way. A bow to me is more like steamed bent wood, like formed. You know what I mean? Like steaming it and then bending it over a form.
Interesting. It'd be an interesting project if you just to make a bow.
Yeah, good question.
Michael Ridley, did I do right? Because I scrolled just a little bit.
You better be careful. I'm watching you.
Michael Ridley says, this is for both of you. When you had your dream job, day jobs, and how did you manage your orders, family, and life in general, and not overwhelm yourself to keep on scheduling? I'll let you go first.
I just I didn't have, obviously I didn't have our son at that point. So it was just my wife and I, and it was a lot easier then. I can't imagine doing it now with kids. Like that would be really, really hard.
Little bitty ones it is. But if your kids are older, ours were when I started, they were high school age. So they kind of could feed themselves sometimes, kind of thing. So it's a lot easier. But it's a struggle, because I was watching Fix This Build That's live stream Sunday night, and he was talking about this. A lot of people, they don't understand that and Steve and Ramsey and I was talking about this today when I was on his podcast, but you can't just, like, if you're doing this to try to make it your job, you can't just work 8 to 5 and expect it's going to go anywhere. You have to put in a lot of time. Like, it's a lot of work, like from on both parts. You know, it's just, man, it's a lot of work.
The misconception that YouTube is easy and you get rich off from it.
Yeah.
If I tell everybody, if I calculated how much time I put into YouTube and divided that, how much I've made,
hours,
like it's pennies on the dollar on the hour. It's because I love to do it. So
yeah, it's a love thing because it's a lot of work. We're off.
Get to finish the question.
Oh, I didn't answer this. Did I? Yeah, I answered.
I said him.
Oh yeah. Okay. What size CNC would you recommend if size was not an issue, like shop size? The biggest you're gonna get?
Yeah, I would go to a 4x8.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I think too.
I would
afford it and you want it.
If you got the budget, space, why wouldn't I'd just jump into it.
Gabe wants to know, what's your favorite first CNC project?
My favorite first CNC project.
Like, I guess one you had success with, maybe first off. Like the first thing I made was that actually come out was a like a catch-all tray, and I was like, yeah.
And doesn't that feel so good?
Oh, it does.
Yeah. I would say I made, it's downstairs in the shop, but I made my old logo, not my new Andy Bird Builds logo, but my original logo. I made that, and that was such a struggle. That was my first V carving, and V carving is a whole nother animal, and but I was pretty proud of it. It's made out of plywood.
Stephanie wants to know, is there a market for an extremely easy to learn and easy to use interface for CNC? I guess what software is easiest, maybe?
So Carbide. So I started in Carbide Create and Carbide Motion, which is, and I still use it today for the basic stuff where I don't need a lot. That is, I don't know if you could get much more basic than that. And I say that because I've used Fusion 360 a little bit for more complex stuff, like some of the topography and different things.
Yeah, I saw those. You're messing with those. Are pretty cool. Yeah,
and Fusion 360 will make your mind explode. Like that is
it's so complicated. Huh?
That made me realize how simple Carbide Create was.
Right. I haven't messed with any of that stuff. Married Man Woodworking, he's got a YouTube channel also. He says, what is your target audience on YouTube? Who do you think would gain the most from your content, and how do you focus your content around your target audience?
YouTube questions. This is something else. This is like, I went to college over the last year and a half. I've learned, and you have to learn how YouTube works. You have to learn all these things. These are all great questions. I love YouTube questions too. So my target audience is someone similar to myself that is, I'm 30. How old am I? I'm 33.
It gets so time too.
Yeah, right. I'm almost 34. Yeah. And 30 years old, someone that is been in their career job for a little while and has some disposable income and wants a challenge. They think CNC stuff looks cool. They want to make their own stuff. And that is my target audience.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Well, never mind. So this one popped up from this Mackenzie McLean girl. That's my daughter. She says, Mr. Bird, do you think nightstands make good gifts for daughters asking for Mr. Clamps? She's been wanting to make her a nightstand forever. So I have a question. Of course. What do you say to people who say CNC is not woodworking? Because I get that fairly regularly.
Yes.
I wholeheartedly disagree with them. And what I say to them is, there are so many different kinds of woodworking. And where do you draw the line, right? Like, just because I'm not using hand tools and I'm out here with a spoke shave. I'm using a table saw. Like, what is woodworking, right?
That's my argument. Is like, well, do you use a table saw? Do you use a miter saw? Like, are you only doing hand tools? Like, the CNC is a tool, just like everything else is. It's not the end all be all.
And when you program, like, I think the misconception is that once you program the CNC, you don't have to do anything from that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just pop it off the CNC bed and it's ready to go. And that's not true. You still have to sand, finish,
all right,
route edges. So you're right. The CNC is just another tool in the shop.
And that screen.
I want to touch the mouse pad and she won't let me.
Stop.
She's fixing to spat my hand.
So,
and I'm on
my little, so that's why I'm over here laughing, because I'm watching myself
do it. I want to do it.
To correct you constantly. It's
like mine.
Having a kid.
Yeah, I feel like the elf. I need to push all the buttons.
Stop.
I want to put it on the screen. Custom Creative Carving says a CNC will do exactly what you tell it to. That's the best and the worst part of CNC.
It 99% of the time, like, I think as like CNC operators, like there's always that, I didn't tell it to do that. Why did it do that?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I agree. Like, if you go back and look at your order of operations and what buttons you hit, most of the time it's user error.
All right. So we talked before the show, and it's
I can't. I'm not at the mic.
It's power tip time. So, do you have a power tip for our users or for our viewers?
Yes, I do.
Stop asking all the questions.
I can't keep up with all of them.
Stop. Screen again. Stop.
Power tip. So my power tip is actually going to be. I'm actually talking about it on this Friday's YouTube video, but it's about determining your goals, right? That's such a hard thing to do. Like, getting into woodworking, like, what do you want to do? And the answer is, well, I don't know what I want to do because I haven't experienced it yet. So I'm talking about, like, once you have been in woodworking for a little while and you've kind of experienced things and you like the technology side of things or you don't like the technology side of things, like, at that point, start setting some goals for yourself. Either, okay, I just want this to be a hobby. I just want to do things for fun. And that will kind of direct your path. Or I want this to be a side hustle. And then you head down that path. Or I want this to be a full-time thing for me. The reason I say set your goal and that will kind of direct your path is because it's really easy to try to chase every single one of those paths.
Right.
And looking around you, like Matt, you and I have different goals. I'm sure some of them are similar, but some of them are different. So if I look and see what you do and I'm like, well, you did it, so why wouldn't I do it? Well, We're not comparing. Like, I'm not trying to accomplish your goals. I'm trying to accomplish my goals. So the sooner you can, so to sum all that up, the sooner you can set some goals for yourself and work towards those, the kind of more focused you'll be and the further you'll go down that path.
I got it. I got this.
She's going to put it on screen for me because I can't touch it. Clicked the wrong one, I think.
No.
Oh, thank you, great grandpa. He says, great show, great guest. I've watched Andy many times, even though I don't have a CNC machine. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think I've seen some of his comments before. His icon is very recognizable.
It is.
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
And Michelle Cochelle, she's our Georgia peach. She says, good evening, all. What do you wish you had known early on? Like, if you tell your early CNC self, what would you, or woodworking in general?
I would tell myself the power tip I just said. Try to figure out, okay, if I want this to be a full-time thing, like, I would say I got it somewhat right, but I could have been more focused. I've chased too many butterflies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So for me, it was like, I was doing it as a side hustle, perfectly happy doing that. And then I had a video take off, and it literally changed my life. And one video, I tell people all the time, if you're posting videos on YouTube, all it takes is one. It'll totally change your life. And it did ours. I mean, of course, we kept posting. After that, we was already posting, but we really doubled down on our content. And it'll change your life. But see, my goal changed during that time because I was doing the side hustle, and then it took off, and I could see the potential here, and I was like, I got to get in all in on it. So, what does CNC stand for? Many people want to know that answer. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. Oh, you're fine. What does CNC stand for? Something numerical control, computer numerical control, I believe.
I think so. Somebody put it in there a few minutes ago.
Yeah. Because G-code, all it is numbers. It's crazy.
Grady Fiber says husbands are the biggest kids you'll ever raise.
I know. I read that. I didn't disagree either.
She's literally holding my hands down, y'all.
I am. My hand is down. My hurt hand is having to hold his down.
I keep trying to scroll past the question.
Now I'm trying to find them all. Here it is.
What's the most expensive woodworking mistake you've ever made?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Probably has to do with epoxy. I've mismixed or mismeasured epoxy before. Nothing like a $200 epoxy mistake.
So a lot of people, saw this question a couple of times. They want to know if how a CNC fares in cold weather. Do you know?
So my shop is in my basement. We have a walkout basement, and it's not heated, so it doesn't get super cold down there. But it'll get 50 degrees down there.
Somebody was talking Minnesota cold.
I mean,
unheated. I think they said unheated too. So I'm assuming really cold.
Really cold, yeah. So one thing that I would say, this is a great tip, is when anything to do with electronics, so CNC stuff, having big temperature swings where you're going to get condensation is a big no-no. It'll fry a CNC up real quick. So that's what I would be worried about.
Do you have a dehumidifier in your shop or in your basement?
I don't. Okay. I don't.
So we got one.
Brandon Z says cold is fine, heat is your enemy.
So it's so humid here, man. It's like in the summertime we get 90, 100% humidity, and it'll be 110 degrees outside. I mean, it's just stifling. So I got a dehumidifier for the garage, and it's a fairly good size one. And that thing, man, I could kind of tell a difference before I got my mini split. When I put the mini split in there, I left it off the other day by accident, the dehumidifier. When I walked in there, you could really feel the difference. So and it keeps it at 45, I think, % humidity is what it regulates it at.
Very nice.
How long does it take to actually learn the software?
That is a subjective question to your computer skills, and just software in general. But I would say, what would you say? I would say 6 months. How long have you had yours?
A couple of months. However, I didn't mess with it I've had it probably maybe 3 months now, but I didn't mess with it for almost a month and a half, probably, because I was building my workbench build, and it wasn't on my priority list. I just started getting back messing with it. And like I kind of got this basic idea of what was going on pretty quick. And I buy files on Etsy. I don't know if you sell files. So you should. You'll make some good money. But so I would buy files on Etsy and look for SVG files. I've had people send me files, and I just throw those in there and just adjust the thickness of my board and tell it to go, and it'll cut it out. So those are fairly simple to do if you got a file. Now telling it what to do and making your own designs, I ain't got that far yet.
Honestly, I design simple. Mm-hmm. Like I'll design like a catch-all tray. I could design that, but I'm with you. Like designing is a whole nother animal in itself.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's something, I even told Carbide this, I think that's something that's missing with the CNC community or companies. Man, they should be giving you access to a fairly decent library. It doesn't have to be a lot, but 50, 100 files that you can take and use. They've got cutrocket.com, I think, and it's kind of a file sharing.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But a lot of those files are created in that software you're using, the Vector or whatever, so it won't, I don't know how they come into Carbide. And so I just want a Carbide file that loads on my Carbide, and then I can tweak it, tell it the size I'm going to be cutting and that kind of thing. But anyway, I think it'd be a good idea. William Pouncey wants to know, any way to keep a CNC from producing blowout on finished grade plywood?
It depends what you mean about blowout, but I'll take that as just tear out, basically. And I would be using, it sounds like you're using an upcut bit, which will give you a frayed top edge and can blow out your top edge. So I would recommend I'd recommend trying using a downcut bit that pushes everything down, and it'll give you a clean top surface.
Or compression, maybe? Do you like those compression bits?
Yeah, compression is a little more advanced, but I do use a compression now. The thing with the compression is you just have to plunge beneath that, what would be upcut portion, right?
Oh, okay.
Downcut portion. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You have to get a little more aggressive with them to do what you want to do.
Right.
There was a question from Faith. Are there different software applications for the different machines?
Somebody wants to know if there's different software for different machines or if they all work together. There it is. It's on the bottom.
Yeah, there's numerous ones. Obviously Carbide, Shapeoko, we talked a lot about them just because you and I own a Shapeoko. So that's open source. You can actually use that anywhere, I believe. But I know Xcarve makes easel, and then there's some there's VCarve and VCarve Pro, and then Aspire. So there's a lot of different software applications.
Awesome. Can I scroll yet? Can't scroll. The freedom.
I'm so mean to you.
Juan Pablo asking again. Somebody had already asked this one. If suggest to buy for the first time, and I think Andy said Shapeoko is a good option to go with for the first time. And then Kent wants to know if you build anything using pocket holes.
Oh, the pocket holes. I've actually built a lot of stuff using pocket holes.
Yeah.
I am a pocket hole fan.
Awesome. All right. So, Andy, we really appreciate you coming on. If anybody wants to follow you, I put a link to your channel in the description, but where else can they find you at?
Yeah, obviously my YouTube channel that you'll have to link for, but also Instagram. I usually post on Instagram daily in my stories, kind of behind the scenes stuff at Andy Bird Builds. And then always, all else fails, my website, andybirdbuilds.com.
Awesome.
That is a good name.
It is a good name. It's catchy. It's catchy. All right, man. I greatly appreciate this.
All right. Absolutely. Thanks for the invite.
Have a good night, man.
Thanks so much.
All right. See ya.
Let me see if I can move this.
Can I have my mic back?
You can.
Thank you.
You took it from yourself, you goofy.
Oh, I did?
Oh, my goodness.
Y'all see her hold my hand down the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was going to get a spat there for a minute. I was just waiting for that sting. Spat.
You are full of yourself, aren't you?
So if you weren't here...
He acts like a child on stuff.
Rude.
Thank y'all for subscribing to Andy.
Yep. He's got a lot of good content. Even if you're not into CNC, the thing I thought was interesting, and one of the main reasons I wanted to bring him on was I really like the fact that he took a different approach than everybody else was doing. Everybody else was trying to make custom pieces with their CNC and try to sell those. It wasn't really like you can make a little money with that, but his approach is totally different. He went after the wholesale market. He batches out 100, lets the CNC machine work and batch out 100. Am I too loud?
Oh, you're really loud.
Batch out 100 cutting little cheese trays or serving trays and he can finish those up and ship those, and he's making money doing that. And it's just a different approach. He's thinking differently, and I like that. I think if you, I pushed the wrong button.
What did you do?
I don't know. I'm pushing buttons.
Oh, it's because I gave him control of his hands back. Stephanie's onto something. She said, I need a ruler to smack your hands with.
I got hit one of those in kindergarten.
Turned my mic up too.
All right. So if you weren't here earlier, we do have a limited edition tumbler. It's black. It's got live edge, 2x4, pocket hole king with our logo on there. We're only selling 50 of these in this color. If you're interested, there is a link in the description. You can go check those out.
Pablo.
Juan Pablo.
He says, just tuned in and learned that we do a live stream. At the same time, he found out he was not subscribed, but he's been watching you for a while. Thank you for answering this question.
You're welcome, man.
Oh, ham hands.
Oh, hams himself.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's me. I'm ham.
Yeah, he ham hands everything around here. If you let him get near anything, he's going to ham hands it.
Yeah.
Just telling. Lloyd said he's glad you didn't use your unmatched ninja skills to free your hands.
That's right.
Y'all see, I was able to hold those hands down with a hurt one.
But I just wanted to remain calm. I could have come up out that. I got them breakaway skills.
Look at me and tell me you could have.
I don't want to. Let's move on. That's my new phrase. Let's move on.
He doesn't like it when I give him my teacher look.
Ooh, I don't. I can see it.
He said it makes him uncomfortable.
It does make you uncomfortable. Somebody gives that teacher look. They just looking at you all crazy out for no reason. Like I just be sitting there.
No reason?
See, she finna do it.
I can't do it right now. Where are the cuffs? I think he does still have.
I do have one pair. They're if you look at the videos, I'm not going to tell you where they're at, but they're in the garage or in the shop, hanging on one of the shelves, and they should be visible in a lot of the videos if you want to check them out. They're hanging in there.
Yeah, I don't touch them.
She don't touch them because they're like
who knows what they've touched.
Intoxicated people do some gross stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Urinating, defecating, all that kind of stuff in your car. Vomicating. So those things are funky. So she never messes with.
Breathicating.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Stephanie says she saw them in the shop.
Also, on the cups, so we're selling 50 and they're pre-orders. So until we hit 50, they won't print them. So once we hit 50, they'll print them. You'll be charged once they're printed and shipped. So also the cups they support us obviously, but they also support the Wounded Warrior Project because the company that makes the cups donates to the Wounded Warrior Project. So
Great Grandpa says that you need to learn the teacher look.
I used to have the trooper look. I forgot it though. I don't like that. Please stop. Graf, I'm glad you got that special blue clip because that's the only one, man. It's the one and only.
Do you like it, Graf? I thought they were so super cool. So funny. Oh my goodness.
So, and just so you know, for programming notes, today I had the distinct honor, like it was an honor, really was, to be on Steve Ramsey's podcast. I don't know when that'll come out, but it'll be on his channel. We talked and had a good time. He's just a super nice guy. I mean, just super nice. In return, he's going to come on our show the 21st of September here on Live Edge. So if you have any questions for Steve Ramsey, I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions for him, but if you do, he'll be on the show that night.
Someone had asked RH Harley, I think.
Do we miss it?
Something about it was for you.
Oh, okay.
Something about, do you think that
Becca just reposted?
Yeah, where'd it go?
Do you think woodworking becomes saturated with certain products? Just takes a minute to search. Found thousands something when you search it. So certain products will. So like you go to Etsy, you search cutting boards, you're going to see 20,000 results for cutting boards. You go certain products. If you can differentiate yourself somehow on there, like we did with our stove covers, they had a unique design. Everybody else had like 4 boards laying this way and 2 laying this way with some handles on it. We actually got some cuts. She designed the handles, and nobody else was selling anything like that. And so those started selling. And when they started selling, man, I couldn't keep up with how many I needed to build. I was trying to do it as part-time and work as a police officer full-time. So it was like a lot of stuff coming at me. And so we gave it up. when the channel took off, because I don't like batching stuff out, but those were selling. So if you can find that market, you just got to find it. It just takes a lot of trial and error.
Tom Oni says, have you made a farmhouse bench haul tree?
I have, but I didn't make a video on it. Actually, we'd made a video of the haul tree that's right here.
That's what I was thinking.
But it's not a haul tree because it's attached it to the wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I made a haul tree before, but I didn't make a video on that a couple of years back.
I'm so tired.
Why? What did you do? Teach school or something?
I've been around kids all day. You guys were talking about how much harder it is to get stuff done when you have little ones.
Mm-hmm.
I know Becca tries to do kind of everything, and she's got a cute little dude that follows her around. He's so cute. She posted a picture of her with her wife and the little boy. Oh, Becca. But yeah, it's a lot harder for you guys. I see people post on here sometimes. We'll have to catch it on replay because I got to go feed the little ones or put them to bed. And so you guys that are hustling that with little ones, God bless you.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
It is hard.
That's, so when
21st,
we started this,
I think Houston.
Yep. September 21st, 7 p.m. here on Live-ish.
Now
we didn't ever have to deal with that because we always had her high school. So
yeah, by the time he started, I think the oldest one had already graduated high school, and Mo was about to. And Becca said it's hard being a parent of these little minions. Hey, angels. Yes.
Pollen count's gonna be high tomorrow.
Oh, great! That's why I'm this way. Every time we have high pollen and stuff, my face goes nuts. Like, it just goes nuts. So tomorrow's going to be a great day.
Metal Marler Woodworking. You want to start CNC, is Shapeco a good choice? That's the one Andy recommended. I've got a Shapeco. They work pretty well. I'm still trying to learn it. Yesterday, I had a challenge with it. Last week, it worked perfectly fine. Matter of fact, I made 5 stove trays. Or not, I'm back on stove trays. I made 5 catch-all trays and 3 mallets. They're on the store if you want to go check them out. I think I put that link right there, 731woodworks.com/store, or the catch-all trays I was able to make with it. And then there was some mallets. They're all sold out, but I'm making 5 more now. The CNC just batched them out. Like, it was easy. I just racked them dudes off. And then yesterday, it wasn't easy no more. So
I thought something like was really wrong because he jumped up from the kitchen bar and took off running. And
I heard he going.
He made it to the shop, and I heard, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh crap!" So I grabbed the pup and put her down and running out there, and he's out there standing at the computer just pushing buttons. And I'm like,
I was slowing it down.
I was like, "What is going on?" And he scared the crap out of me.
It was doing its own thing.
Aw,
hey, DIY. Thank you.
All right, let's do our states really quick.
State.
I don't think very many people put them in there, so they'll probably start popping through.
Hey, there's one that just popped up from Philadelphia, PA.
I've got Pennsylvania in here.
But do you have Philadelphia?
No, because I was doing states. Philadelphia is not a state.
I know. But it's an awesome city.
Gosh, you better be glad, all of you.
Okay.
Oklahoma, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, California, Indiana, Utah, Texas, Georgia, Kentucky, Minnesota, Illinois, Virginia, Wisconsin, Australia, Canada, Ohio, Louisiana, Maine, Alabama, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Oregon, Florida, West Virginia, Tennessee. Florida. I said, Tennessee. I didn't have that one. Mississippi. Hey, we got Mississippi. Connecticut. Do we have Connecticut in here?
I never heard Connecticut. You know what I think would be a cool place to go visit that you wouldn't think would be cool?
We never hear anybody from Connecticut in here.
It's because it's the smallest state. So, you know where I think it would be cool to go visit that
Indiana,
you wouldn't think
Missouri,
would be cool?
New York, Washington, what?
Utah. I think that would look like, you see pictures of Utah, it's pretty. Mm-hmm. I'd like to go there.
It is. Their land is very pretty.
And a partridge in a pear tree, says Lloyd.
Nevada.
Ronnie, I'm glad you finally changed your name back to where it's supposed to be. I appreciate that.
Did he put Lloyd on there yet?
He did.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, you've made my arm hurt from having to hold you down.
Oh, that's bad.
That is bad.
That made me feel bad.
You ought to feel bad. You really should.
I do really do.
I was having to hold him down because he would go by like 20 questions.
Yep. Jim Hatch has a good point. Check out Onefinity. I was actually, after I got my Shapeco, somebody recommended to get Onefinity, but I'd already got Shapeco. But I think Myers Woodshop, we had him on a few weeks back, or maybe a month or two back. I think he switched to Onefinity from Shapeoko. So I think he's got a video on that. So you can go check that out.
People are liking the idea of Utah.
Yep, let's try Utah.
Katy, Texas.
Actually,
Brianna Wilson's from there. I have an aunt that lives in Katy.
In the members only live stream, somebody brought up Workbench Con in February in Atlanta, and I think we're going to go. What do you think?
I think it would be cool.
Let's go. Workbench Con February. We could do a meetup out there, y'all.
You said it was September.
No. It's going to be in February.
What?
September is when they open the pre-sale. It's going to be in February. It'll be nice and cool. Atlanta.
On a weekend?
Thursday through Sunday. You can miss a day.
That would be 2 days.
We got this, girl.
If it starts on Thursday, wouldn't I need to miss Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? That'd be 3 days.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
That's before testing.
So, you don't want to go?
Yeah, I want to go, but it's not as easy. You know, this ain't my full-time job.
Oh. I don't see no employee of the month of me. I've been looking for it. Still ain't seen it.
What does that tell you?
Wow. Wow. Ouch. That stings a lot. That stings. It does sting.
How many followers do you need to be on Patreon? I don't
know.
that right.
I think anybody can sign up. We got a Patreon. I don't push it a lot. We were talking about that earlier, that I would like to beef it up a little bit. I've seen some other people kind of use it.
Who's out in traffic?
Huh?
They said they're from Monticello. Who's out in traffic?
Hey, out in traffic.
Who is that?
Thank you.
I want to know who that is.
Well, maybe they don't want to know. That's why they're out in traffic.
It's a mystery.
The only time you get stuck in traffic in Monticello is in school hours.
Yes, that's it. And it's awful. It's seriously 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon. At a 15-minute time frame, that's the only time you ever get stuck in traffic in Monticello. Oh, goodness.
Have I been employed long enough to get a vacation? Lord, I thought you was on my side, man.
Because he's already been on vacation. So he is employee of the month.
Don't see that picture. I want the picture with the little label on the bottom.
What do you call it? Where's my cup?
Appreciate it, Gabe.
Hey.
Research and development.
Yeah, it's in research and development. It's in R&D right now. So when I get my cup, y'all, I have a serious problem.
Yeah.
I can't drink out of a cup like a big kid because I pour it on my shirt.
It happens all the time.
Like every time. So I've been telling them to make me a cup, and Yetis don't work.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I'd like to
highlight his comment. He says, actually, Workbench Con would be a work conference. So it's not necessarily a vacation. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
You win tonight's golden fist bump.
But that would mean a work conference for you, not me.
Yeah, but my spouse has to go with me. It's got awful quiet in here.
We would want Mo to go too, and that would be before testing for her. So you're talking about taking literacy and math out for 30 days.
Substitute teachers. That's what they make them for.
No, we're going to talk about this.
Y'all help me talk her into going to Workbench Con.
It would be a tax deduction. Now, look, I'm all for it. I'm just a little bit worried about timing.
She don't like leaving. She don't like missing time with her students. She really doesn't.
Ever.
She loves being there, and it's hard for her to, like, she probably has 99% of the vacation / sick days she's ever been given.
True story, bro.
She doesn't leave.
No. Which is why I'm not too happy about this little doodad.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they have to do surgery again, it's going to be a while before they can do it. Because I made them wait last time until I had a break.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is just September.
Yep.
My next big break won't be until December. So, surgery will have to wait. Eat a steak at Ruth's Chris.
Ruth's Chris.
We never eat steak anywhere, so that might be a good place.
Yeah. We wanted to go. We've been wanting to come to Atlanta anyway, just to visit.
Mm-hmm.
But
I feel like we're really loud.
No.
Are we really loud? No. Graf said he'd go with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Graf.
Becca said we're definitely her people. I say that to my kids all the time. What is Mo sending me?
She screenshotted something.
I know. Ain't no telling what it is, and my thing won't open. So, Mo, I don't know what you sent me. Let me look on my phone, see if I can tell. Best steak he's ever had.
Hey.
I make a really good steak, and so we don't eat steak out anywhere here.
You see that knot?
Oh, they said Mo for Employee of the Month.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
That's
She's
what
pretty good
CDN Woodworker said. Mm-hmm.
Hoss wants to know if you went upside my head with that hand.
I did not. Where's he at? Is he in here?
Yeah. I just put his comment on the screen.
Ross, really? No. But he hurt my hand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Workbench Con is in Atlanta. Yep, Gabe, it is in Atlanta. And then it's also in February.
Jason said he's making lunch for work tomorrow. Does anybody know where his mayo is? If I ask my girlfriend, she's going to yell at me for not moving.
We don't eat mayo. I can't help you there.
Look behind the butter. That's great.
You're looking with man eyes. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
You're like, where's my mouse? Where's my mouse? And she comes in and picks it up. I'm like.
But he can say, hey, you see that splinter over there in the woods? I'm like, what? Oh, it's terrible.
Good times.
Mo, Ross, he has not done Mo's table.
Well, I ain't bringing up sore subjects, Ross.
Oh, we never did find out who the other one was. That's not Ross, is it? Because
Hoss is Ross.
I know Hoss is Ross. I didn't know if maybe he had changed his name on there or something. No. I still want to know who that is. Out in traffic.
Now she's Mo texting me trying to get employed a month. Come on now. What's all that about?
He's been busy making 2 videos for the week. Yep.
Roger that.
What? What does that say?
Nightstand equals employee of the month.
That's right. That's what we're waiting on. That in my cup. That in my cup.
Well, I got you 2 cups. You gave them both away.
Lloyd, you did not get those from me. Stop lying. Turn the camera off for a second.
Ooh.
I'm going to hit you outside the other side there. What are you doing?
Ow!
You are such a liar. I can't even clap.
Clap? You smacked me.
You clapped.
Smacked me upside the head.
Tell the truth. God's watching you. Did y'all see his shirt? Y'all got to look at his shirt. This is the best shirt ever. I found that on Etsy. What was that?
That was my dance without the because all the stuff's in the way. I can't do it.
You can't do that on this. It's a family show.
To the moon.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Oh, cup of coffee, you mean? What are they talking about now? Good night, Stephanie.
Yep.
Ross said he's gonna get you.
Come see me.
Anyway, Lloyd.
Got air conditioning now. You won't even sweat.
She loved that nightstand that you made.
Yeah, it was sharp. It was a really good job.
I'll take Sunday videos over Mo's table every week. Sorry, Mo. That was 4, 3, 2, 1.
Boom.
Mo, get him. 4, 3, 2, 1 said that. Get him. Get him.
Yeah, eventually I will run out of video ideas and just build the nightstand.
4, 3, 2, 1. We do use those as tax write-offs. Any that are for the show.
What's that?
The shirts that are for the show.
It's my work clothing.
You lie, you fry. That's what Bruce Stanton says. He's speaking the truth.
Okay, she didn't really hit me. I hit myself on her behalf.
You clapped.
That's hitting my hand.
So our dog did something yesterday, and I didn't have my brace on. I wasn't thinking, and I clapped. Gosh.
They get you a new car finally, man. They better give you a Tahoe. What they should have done gave you.
Most threatening to put 4, 3, 2, 1 in timeout. You better not. She wouldn't.
Mike Adams wants to know if I ever outsourced bowls, etc. No, I haven't. We've never got anything like that outsourced. So for the projects or whatever.
Oh, those wood turner things to make. Oh, those things are so cool. Mm-hmm. They're beautiful. I love those. I like it when people take the colored pencils,
the epoxies and stuff,
and turn them into stuff, and then put the. Oh my gosh, I love those things. Ross said finally.
Awesome, man. About time.
Yep.
Well, we really appreciate you guys joining us.
Welp at the same time.
So next week it'll
and then
just
we said
be
that at the same time.
it'll just be us talking about something, and then the week after that it'll be just us again, and then no, the week after that it'll be Steve Ramsey from Woodworking.
Let me
for
just
Mere
pull
Mortals.
up my calendar so you can see the calendar. So the
next week's just us.
The 14th, it's just us. Sorry. And then the 21st.
It'll be Mr. Steve Ramsey from Woodworking for Mere Mortals. Just a great guy. Somebody I've watched for years and years on YouTube. Just I can't say enough nice things about him. He's just a nice guy. And so he'll be on. So if you have any questions for him, that'll be the day to join us.
All right. Thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all.
Grady Fibers, thank you. And I love your name. That was my day's name, Grady.
Yep.
Y'all have a good night.
Good night.